On today's episode, I bought a table. Not just any table, but a hydraulic lift table capable of lifting 500 pounds or 226 kilos. Now, to put that into comparison, that's a little bit more than two of me. Now, with this here foot pedal, if you were to pump it, the table goes up. And if you were to release that handle, the table goes down. Alright, so obviously the plan is to turn this here table into some sort of scooter lift. Now, I've always wanted a bike lift, but when they're at 2.5 meters long and they're about 400 kilos, they simply will not fit in this space that I have. And they're kind of overkill when you're working on scooters. So I wanted a very small bike lift. Now there's nothing available, so I found this table online and I thought I could fashion something from it. So what do we got? We got a piece of board, a piece of timber that's used for bench tops, that kind of thing. Now this thing is on sale. It was like $46, absolute bargain. It is 1800 long. All measurements are in the metric system, guys, sorry, but it is 1800 long. Now, to go on the front of it, to clamp the front wheel, I found online a front wheel clamp vise. Now, I bought this for $76, you beauty. Then we just need a bit of hardware, some eyelets, that kind of stuff, and some little ropes to hold it down, lock it in place, and hopefully we can turn this into something that I can use to put a scooter on, lift up, lift down, and work in a more comfortable position. First job off the rank is to partially disassemble the hydraulic table. The location of the handle in its current configuration will get in the way. It will stop the table from moving up and down when it's released. From here we prepare the bench top, cutting it down from 1800 to 1500 to suit any size scooter. From here I've centered the bench top to the hydraulic table and I'm going to lower it so now I can offer the bike up to ensure everything will go as planned. Alright, so we've got the bike up on the lift now. It's in its down position and I'm pretty happy with where it's sitting, but of course we've got to lift the lift up to see how well it is balanced. That looks pretty damn good. Alright, so what we've got here is the little bike is on the table nicely. It is perfectly centered, or as close to being centered as I can get. But being that this little Pelican Jog is one of the smallest bikes that I'm ever going to have on this table with the skinniest wheels, I need to bring it as far this way as I can because the bigger bikes have wider tires and they will shift over a little bit. Now if we come around the front, this wheel clamp here, you'll notice I've got it hanging off the table. Now there are two fixing points, one here and one here. This one obviously isn't going to work. As I said, I need this wheel clamp as far over as possible to get a variety of sizes of bikes on. So we're gonna have to cut this off and re-weld it here to give us the double fixing point. Okay, so on this side of the table, the other side of the wheel clamp, you'll see where I've got it set out, there is actually a big gap between here and here. That's because the other side clamps. As you rotate the screw, it pushes it over. So I've got it set up, as I said, for the smallest bikes. This gap here is 5¼ inches, which will allow for a pre-bug zoomer with a 5-inch wheel and tire combination on the front to fit in nicely. Worst case scenario, I could build a spacer bracket to come down here to clamp a smaller bike in place. So now I am happy with the way it's all orientated, the way it's sitting on the table, the balance of it on the table. I'm going to start marking it up nicely so I know where everything sits, pull the bike off the table, and then I'm going to start clamping everything in place, drilling holes, vicing it down and cutting up that clamp to weld it in place. And hopefully we're getting very close to this being a fully functional scooter lift. My method for attaching the bench top to the table is some aluminium angle. Now I'm going to drill into the side of the table, then up through the angle into the board. This will hold it securely in place. Now with the bench top secured, I am test fitting the wheel clamp to the table. The test fit shows the foot of the clamp does not sit flat on the table. This will need to be modified. Alright, so moving on. Now we have to modify the other side of the wheel clamp. So this part of the wheel clamp here, it sits proud of the table, so I'm going to cut it off and relocate it to the front. Showing you guys now what I mean, the foot of the clamp isn't flat with the table. I've got it set up here and you can kind of pretty well see that there's a gap here, right? Now on the back, you can see it kind of sits flush here. The foot, try and come up with a way to flatten it out perfect so it will actually sit flush with the table. I ended up just cutting the foot off as I figured it would just be far easier to start it all over again. Here I am test fitting a spare wheel that I have lying around, making sure it clamps down nice and tight. Beautiful. Job well done. I wanted a rubber top to protect it from oil and fuel spills, so I'm going to roll out a sheet of rubber and then cut that down to size. Alright, time to start finally assembling this table for the first time. Let's put it all together. So all the holes are pre-drilled because we've test fitted everything many times. Onto the other side of the clamp. Now, on this side of the clamp, I've already attached an eyelet. Time to put it on the other side as well. Okay, last bit is the little tie down points. So we'll hang them off the eyelets. These will attach to the handlebars. Alright, and that is pretty much the bike table, the little scooter lift, 100% complete. It's done for now. Now, I did talk about the handle a little bit. The handle, I wanted to retain the functionality of the table. So I had a couple of options. I wanted to either cut it down and move it to the front of the table here, but it was going to kind of get in the way, and if ever I wanted to use it as a table again, it kind of lost its function. I was really struggling how to come up with an idea, so what I've actually done is mounted the whole handle in its entirety underneath the table. So I've used some pipe clamps that bolt up underneath the table, and the handle is pretty much mounted there. I didn't have to extend the cable, I didn't have to do anything. I just re-ran the cable a slightly different route and it all seems to work. So what I'll do is I will show you what's going on underneath the table so you can see the handle and how that works. Underneath the table you can see these clamps here, one at the back there and one down here as well. So these are just pipe clamps that I've used to secure the handle to the underside of the table. And there you can see the release lever and the cord running down underneath the table. Very good, works very well. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is having the table extended kind of made the foot pump a little bit useless. It didn't work. You could use it, but you had to use it by the hand. You can see me earlier on in the video reaching under the table, pumping it up. Now, that's not that practical. So this is the original handle here, and this is one that I've made. Now, I've just made an extension one, and it mounts underneath the table and serves as a longer foot pump. It's a bit of a prototype at the moment. It does work. Don't know if I'm 100% satisfied with it, but it'll probably end up staying. So we'll put this on as well. Time to put this bad boy to the test. So if we pull the release mechanism, the table goes down. Just excellent. Now we've already got the ramp set up. Time to push the bike up onto the ramp, and let's hope this all goes to plan. And that is the bike up on the table, nice and secure. It's not going anywhere at all. So all we have to do now is kick the little foot release brakes on the front casters. And then we can just position the bike and the table as we please. And this is the position that you usually see me working on the bikes in the garage, because it has the best light. But from here, we can just place a seat in front of it. And if we're working on the CVT, it's right here, the carburetor's right here, the fuel tank is up under here, the wheels are around this area, some of the plastics are around this area. But if we're putting on and off body panels, it's all at the right height too. If we lift the seat, that's all there, right access, everything is perfectly perfect, right at the right height. Okay, what did all this cost? Now, all prices I'm going to give you are in Australian dollars, and the Australian dollar is buying 65 US cents at the moment. So please take that into account. Now, the table, I paid $400 for that delivered. I bought it from a company called Viva, and it's an online store. The front wheel plant, I paid $70 for that from eBay. There was around about a $10 delivery, something like that as well. Now, the hardware and all that kind of stuff that's on the table, that's around $50 mark. If you do have this stuff at home, you will save some money. Now, there's the eyelets, there's the little ratchet straps, and various stainless steel nuts involved in that kind of stuff. There was some pipe as well. There is also the saving as well, so that's $100 cheaper. You don't need the rubber mat as well. I just did it, so any spills that I have on the table don't go through into the timber. So how's that compared to what you can buy online? Well, first of all my research, I couldn't find a scooter lift, but I'm sure you guys are going to prove me wrong. You're going to start commenting down the bottom, and that is exactly what I want to see. However, the only thing that I could find comparable is 700 Australian dollars plus around a $50 shipping fee. Now, that thing was 2.5 meters long and it was 450 kilos. So not very ideal for me in my little space right here. Now, I'd say I was about $150 on that. It's obviously a lot smaller and it's a lot lighter. The table itself only weighed 25 kilos. Add 10 kilos of timber, the clamp at the front, you're looking at, around about 65 kilos, maybe 55 kilos. So, much lighter, much more maneuverable, and much better for what I need it for. Have you guys built your own scooter lifts? I'm keen to hear about it. Put it in the comments below, tell me all about it, and I guess I'll see you guys on the very next episode. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for leaving the comments. You guys are wonderful. See ya.